So in the last video, um, we discussed how to grab an element, a form element on the page, and add an event listener to it, and start setting up how we're actually going to collect values from a form. First step is to actually listen to that submission on the form, and then prevent the default behavior, because this is a client-side class, we're not using a server, so we don't want the form to submit to a server. And then we can finally start doing our code. So let's take our form again. So I gotten rid of the second form, so we just have our name and email form. Let's make a simple application where our application is just going to take the name and the email of whoever submitted and display them. That is going to be it. So let's have something like what we're going to do is we're going to and so we can do this a number of ways. I'm going to do it all in JavaScript. We're going to have some empty variables for name and email. Technically, we probably don't even need these to be global. We could have set them in here, but let's just make this simplistic. And so what we're going to want to do is somehow be able to grab these input values. Now, let me tell you, if you try to Google this, there's going to be a lot of different ways. The easiest and most clearest way, in my opinion, is to simply reference them directly. So let's add an ID to the name field, and we'll just call it name field. An ID to the password field, just call it password, email field. And in our forms.js, let's just say name equals, so we're going to overwrite this value, document.querySelector parentheses hashtag, and that's that ID we just added, name field. And so this query selector represents that element, and all we have to do is use dot value. And email equals the same thing. And just to show you, we'll console log the values right after. And so let's type Michael and hit submit. And now we are grabbing those values. So here's the submitting the form console log. And this is saying, hey, grab this element and grab its current value. And this is saying, hey, grab this element and grab its current value. So we could switch that up if we wanted to a little bit. We could say something like this. We could have a reference to that name field, have a reference to that email field. And then we can just call it like this if that makes it seem a little clearer. And so if I submit a blank form, you'll notice those two values are blank. Nothing was typed in. F, and now we have an F. This one won't work because this is an email field, so it's going to give me this little message. So you have to add a little @ symbol and whatnot. So now that we've got that, now that we've got that code, we now have the values of those fields into name. however many fields there are, whether a few or you don't want forms to be too long, maybe 10 to 15. That gets a little high, but you can just add IDs to all those values and then grab them via query selector, putting the ID in, and then calling the dot value property on them. So let's finish up the code. Now we can just make a little let's do this. Let's have an empty section tag here ready to receive our input, and let's grab that section tag. Section tag. So I called it. Oh, wait, what am I doing? I can just do section. Don't need an ID for that one, since it's the only section. And so what we'll do is we will just make a little template. Let's just plug in h2. Name is name for this variable. Email. And maybe we do something like, thank you for registering. Your information is as follows. And then let's just grab the section tag.enterHTML and set it to the template. It should be good. So let's see. There we go. And if I did it again, it would change it again. So that is how so just as a review for everything we did, we defined a form, we set up a query selector on the form to listen to the submit event, and inside there we prevented the default behavior, so make sure you pass that parameter. We grab the values of the fields, so with the dot value property, similar to project 2, it's just now we're doing it on input elements, and then we built a template and we plugged it in. But this part isn't a part of actually using. This is just one way we could use the values from the form. So thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed these videos.